One of the common mistakes we see in manufacturing is overemphasis on patents. Patents are like a finger. They're just one finger on the hand. There's a whole bunch of other things that manufacturers need to rely on, not just patents or trademarks, but also keeping things as a trade secret or manufacturing processes. This can go down even what particular temperature you may set a machine at or the pace at which that machine might work. But relying on one intangible asset in isolation of the others is normally at the innovator's peril. So patents typically have a very high failure rate. In other words, most patents that are filed never generate an economic return. And the question is not, can I patent, but should I patent? And we would always recommend getting someone independent, certainly of your advisor, to recommend on whether that is the right or maybe a better way to protect what you're trying to keep secret. There's only three things that you can ever do with an idea. You can deploy it. In other words, you raise a bunch of capital, you hire people, you typically go and rent a large warehouse, start filling it with machinery and then people, and then you jump on planes and you try and identify customers and markets to sell that into. There's two other things that you can do. You can also start to look at how do you license that product. So in other words, where you're not manufacturing it, but your idea is being manufactured by someone else in return for a royalty rate, much lower use of capital. Or what we often find is that the license will lead to a sale. So in other words, the licensee says, hey, we love your idea so much, we now want to buy that. So it's critical, especially with manufacturers, to identify what makes what they're doing special and making sure that they don't divulge that, in particular through a license or a sale negotiation. So as a general rule of thumb, over the last 40 years, if we use one example of the S&P 500, the value of the S&P has gone from only intangible assets representing 17% in 1975 to now they represent over 87% of the value of the S&P 500. Another misconception we often come across is that people say manufacturers aren't innovative. In fact, there was an article some time back by a major Australian publication that said manufacturers aren't innovative. Unfortunately, that asked the question the wrong way. Manufacturers are incredibly innovative, and just because they're not filing patents doesn't mean that they don't have IP or intangible assets. They're the same words.